Hello and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And yes, look, folks, it's Friday and the world is still spinning. Xbox is not third party. What a show yesterday, 22 and a half minutes, hosted by Tina. How do you pronounce her last name? Is it Tina
Amini, I think.
Amini? Yeah, Tina Amini. Yes, that's how you pronounce it. I have it written down and I just didn't know how to pronounce it. So she did a great job. Now, look, folks, the truth of the matter is this. It's an Xbox Run podcast. We know that Tina works for them. We know, obviously, the three bigs there. This was a controlled setting, smart, very intelligent, super, super pointed. I thought Tina asked I put it to this way. What I liked about the way Tina handled it is she asked the questions that I myself would have asked if I was sitting in the chair instead of her. And I think that the answers were not corpo. I think you some people are going to go, oh, some of them are corpo. If that's what you think, that's what you think. I'm not going to fight you on it. I got all the answers that I needed as an Xbox fan. And I'm going to break down exactly what I thought. And I will, the way the show is going to work, folks. This is going to be a massive panel. We have Kay Asante joining us. We have King David joining us. We have a Ham Solo joining us, and potentially one other. Everyone's been sent their links. As soon as they get in here, we're gonna talk to them. You're also going to hear from obviously the four of us. This is going to be a one-topic show. Everyone is going to drop their bars, give their highs and lows of exactly what transpired for 22 minutes yesterday. If they're confident, there's no real, no real right or wrong answers here. We're just going to give you our spiel, tell you how we felt, take a question or two from the chat, so get you guys and gals involved. But as we wait for the other members that are joining us today to get in here, let's introduce who's already here. And we'll start first with Dreadpool. Good morning, sir. How you feeling?
Good morning. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling chipper. This is going to be a good show today. I'm glad that everybody is here to see what we have to talk about. And, I mean, it's going to be a lot of opinions. So strap on that seatbelt.
Indeed. And again, I mean, listen, there's no right or wrong answers here. Some people yesterday walked away with excitement for the brand, because obviously we know that they have plans for the next 20 years of Xbox. We know that they have new hardware that is coming in the long term in regards to next-gen hardware. We have confirmation that it's going to be leaps and bounds more powerful than the current hardware. That's very exciting. There is some hardware and controller news coming into the holiday of 2024. We obviously know. I mean, again, this is just I'm looking at my notes and just doing the blue check marks here, folks. Matt Booty confirmed that there are over 10 major releases coming this year. And some of the stuff has been announced. Some of the stuff has not been announced. That's freaking crazy. And it's even more crazy when you consider that the next AAA banger from PlayStation isn't expected until April of 2025. Folks, I'm here to tell you, Xbox has PlayStation on the ropes. You know something? They need all the games that they can get. So the 4 games that they're getting, they should be thankful that Xbox is saving their asses. So, we'll talk about that in a second. But Crispy Bomb, good morning, kind sir. How you feeling? I know you have some pointed opinions to get to.
I do, and I'm going to start with a quote from the podcast. There's an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there is a good brand value there. That is from Phil himself. Okay, I made sure there's the beginning. He kind of stumbled real quick, but yeah, you guys have to realize that sometimes there's games that gravitate towards people and they become part of a community, and that community might possibly bring them to Xbox. And they are definitely looking at casuals, not us hardcore.
Yep.
So let's not ignore that. We want games, right? I mean, seriously, we want games. And sometimes that involves doing things a little differently. So
Yep.
continue to support these games. And that's what I took away in just like one sentence. So, I mean, we're going to get very finite and pointed, and we're going to have our opinions, and I'm going to enjoy this conversation. So I can't wait to get into it.
You know what? I cannot wait to get what you have to say, because obviously this is going to be a fun conversation. I don't know how many people we already have here. We're over 400 people. We're only 7 minutes in. That's crazy. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for choosing to hang out with us for 2 hours on your Friday morning. But listen, Fuzzy, welcome. Good morning, kind sir. One of the bigger, I think that this might have gone over a lot of people's mohawks, if you have one like me, is what Matt Booty said. And he specifically said, and I quote, as we bring more teams to the Xbox family, then that's how they're gonna, catch up with the cross play and the cross save, and they're gonna get everybody on board into one seamless, working machine. That to me suggests that there are potential other acquisitions coming in, because as we bring more teams to the Xbox family, I don't know. That sounds kind of pointed to me. But good
Oh,
morning,
yeah.
kind sir. How you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling great. Got a lot to say today, but man, so glad to be here with you guys. Thursday was eye opening, and it shows where the future of the brand is going. We got some hardware on the roadmap. I mean, there's actually a roadmap. Let's just put it bluntly.
Yeah.
And we'll
Unlike
talk
other
about
platforms.
and we'll talk about how they took some shots at them. I know Crispy was talking about that in chat and stuff like that. How there were some shots across the bow over at other competitors that probably flew under the radar. But
Oh no,
overall,
I the one I think that you should make mention of is the fact that we don't nickel and dime you.
yeah, but I also like the fact that he wants to see more of the dual entitlement stuff. Like if you're going to
It's a
put it
good
on
one.
PC and
Yes.
console, it'd be nice to see more platforms do that. But man, interesting podcast yesterday. So much to get into. I'm not going to take any more time on the intro, but so glad to be here with you guys and everybody in the chat. Hit that like button. This is going to be a good one.
Okay, so before we bring in Dreadpool and get his highs and lows, his thought process of what happened, I do want to do a shout out, and kind of like, I've been getting some questions from people. I've gotten a lot of DMs. Now, obviously, I've seen some of the chatter online. I simply stay back and I just watch and I observe. Um, Xbox Era, who was one of the first to make the report that Starfield was coming to PlayStation 5, seems to be getting beat up by the peoples, right? I was asked many times in the last 12 hours, should I trust Xbox Era? Well, I'll tell you this. I personally will continue to support, to watch, to listen, and trust Xbox Era. I know John, I know Nick, I know Jesse, I know plenty of people that work with them that no longer do, that I consider to be extended friends that I've never met in real life. And I will say this: what we don't know is the controlled leak that came out from somebody in Xbox to kind of rally the troops to hear our voices. I think our distaste with some of the things potentially going over to PlayStation might have course corrected some of their decisions. We'll never know that, because they're never going to tell us that was in fact the case. Now, we keep hearing that it was considered, everything Gears is considered. There are some journalists, which I am not going to name because I don't want to offend anyone, but I will tell you there's a certain subset of journalists that I consider tip of the spear for me that I'm incredibly disappointed with, that continue to drive the point home instead of admitting that they shot too early, or that they didn't cross-reference certain rumors that were put out there by them on their publications. They are driving their heels into the sand, still saying, I have heard, I have heard, I have heard. I am not ready to get into a pissing match with anyone. If this is how is the hill they want to die on, let them die on it. It is fine. But I can tell you this: the experience of the last 2 weeks that I walked away with, folks, is the insiders are mostly full of shit. Sorry. Yes. Should we, as consumers, respond to a rumor like your favorite IP potentially going over to another platform? I will continue to do that because I believe in brand identity, brand recognition, IP that is equated with a particular brand. And I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again right now. I am a dinosaur. I understand that I am old. The old guy in the room that can accept some change but don't want full change. And I don't see a world where it makes sense where Master Chief is on a PlayStation and God of War is on an Xbox. But that is my hill to die on. Okay, that's fine. But sorry for being long-winded, to get right back to Xbox era, I am still going to support them. They got it. They got us. They got a piece of news that they wanted, and they put it out there. Now, where do all of these journalists come to fault? Personally, where I see the fault is everyone wanted to be first, and then of course the loudest, so they can get engagement, farm that click. Now, again, we'll never know because no one's ever going to write a book and tell us that Starfield was one of these four and no longer it's not. And maybe Indiana Jones was and no longer it's not. And again, I find the Indiana Jones one to be a little bit perplexing because Microsoft literally told Disney, no, we're going to keep it to ourselves. And Disney was like, okay, no problem. We knew about that through the court documents. And all of a sudden now they want to give it away. It doesn't make sense. But in regards to Xbox era, those are my friends, and I will continue to support them. And that's that. I will leave it at that. Dreadpool, I think yesterday's podcast, at least in my personal opinion, could not have gone any better for anyone that had doubt on hardware, sustainability of the platform, what the three bigs, what Sarah, what Phil, and what Matt had for the future. We heard that they have 20-year plan. We know that Game Pass was not touched, that it's going to remain the same. They confirmed that Activision Blizzard King games, day and date. We're getting the first big one in March. March 28th is, of course, Diablo 4. That is pretty freaking big. I know there was some talk about, oh, no, they're not going to put Call of Duty because they're going to lose money. Every ABK game is going day and date if it's new. They confirmed that. So there should be no questions. So I have a lot of great takeaways, but I don't know what you have, brother. The floor is yours. Go crazy.
Here's the funny part, right? We have a lot of takeaways, and I also have a lot of questions that have come from those takeaways.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, and that's one of the things. Yes, we know ABK day and date are coming. What about the past titles? What about the past catalog? We know that.
Well, she said it. Sarah Bond actually said it. She said all ABK games are coming to Game Pass, and we're starting with Diablo.
But that was all new. But what about the older ones?
That's considered an old game, I would imagine. Diablo's from last year, so I mean, again, how I took it.
That's kind of the connotation why I have a question, because
it's fair.
If Phil stopped working on back compat, right, and the team has moved on to other projects, what about those other games that were never there?
You're talking about the older games, like a prototype.
The older games, yes.
So I mean, can I just say this? The infrastructure is already there, type thing, maybe. Just saying.
Right. So it's just basically, like I said, it created more questions. That's one of those questions. I'm not going to dive into that on all that, because everything at that point in time is all what ifs, debatable, and we don't know. But So that's one of the things. But I kind of want to hark back to the mass hysteria that led to this show. And the show was going to happen anyway, but it led to being a little bit more focused to the hysteria. And Boom has his opinion, right? And everybody needs to respect that. If he wants to listen to Xbox Era and those are his friends, he trusts them. You should trust that, right? So, and if you don't trust it, that's fine too. You don't have to. Nobody's saying you
Absolutely.
have to, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, with those guys and the other people on social media, the other journalists, because Boom doesn't want to say it, I won't say it. Because of those people, they are held to a higher standard. Again, we put them on a pedestal. We should not put them on a pedestal, right? And that's the thing is when they get to that point, and they're trying to get attention. They're trying to get the clicks. They're doing that on purpose. Clickbait is something that you're supposed to do, right? But you have to deliver, right? So it's a hook, line, and sinker. It's the bait and switch we don't like, right? So there's that connotation when you say clickbait, and you're actually talking about the bait and switch. You're there for this, and then you find out it's completely different, and that's what some of these guys have done in the media, and that's the issue that we're having is the lightly edited for better continuity. I want to know what was lightly edited. You know what I mean? Because stuff like that is taken out of context. When you don't
look,
answer.
To your point, and I think you're onto something here. Again, there are certain journalists, for me, understand this, folks. I'm talking about for me, that I consider tip of the spear for where I go to get my gaming news. Now, I prefer, I like that. There are people on X or on Twitter that I go to every day. Hazardor Gaming, Idle Sloth, Peter Ovo. These are folks that are constantly putting good news out there, and they put out bad news, and you take the news and you run with it. They do source some of the journalists that I consider tip of the spear. Those journalists, and there's one of them in here right now. Tom Warren is one of them. Tom Henderson is another. Paul Tassi, and of course, Jez Corden. And I happen to know Jez Corden personally. Those are the 4 journalists that I consider, for me personally, tip of the spear. Now, everyone ran the stories, right? No one, I don't think there's any one person you can, look, they got the news. Now, I personally think, and again, I can't prove this, Dredd. And I think that this is where you're going with this. Was Starfield on the table? Well, shit, I don't know. But because that got out here, maybe we made them course correct. Is it possible? Yes. Is it the fact? Well, I honestly don't know. But please, I don't mean to cut you off. Please continue.
All right, thank you, Tom, for that clarification. That's kind of again why I wanted to know more about that.
Oh, yeah, there he is. He just said that Dreadpool. We lightly edited everything. Okay, yeah, okay.
Because they take out the ums and stuff like that, which is this is the stuff that we ask for, is the clarifications for stuff like that. Because again, it could be misconstrued. When it comes to that stuff, and that's why some and again, you have fanboys that will take that and run the opposite direction from where it was where it was supposed to be. And that's why I like I said, I have issues with certain things like that. I understand your stance, and I can appreciate you responding with that, which is awesome. And that's what we want. We want that honesty, right? We want you guys to be ethical and responsible with your words and your actions, and that's the same thing with everybody else that we look up to. I try to do that myself. We're not all always 100%, but that's where you take the L and just admit, hey, I'm a man. I screwed up. I'm going to let you know I screwed up, and this is what happens. And this is where the direction is. And a lot of times, that's the thing, is these leaked rumors need to be said so. And that's the problem, is people had ran off with this. Okay. So now let's put this in perspective. I said this in the green room with Boom and Fuzzy and Crispy. I'm in Central Florida. We know how to drive in the rain. We have a lot of people that don't know how to drive in the rain that come from other states, and they drive like they've never driven before, or they're like 110 years old and they've only driven a horse and buggy, and here they are behind a sports car. They don't know what to do. Okay. Now, if I go to New York, I don't know how New Yorkers drive. I don't know how to
Very
do all that.
aggressive. Let me just
Right?
tell you that.
Exactly. Right. And that's the thing. You know, we all have, each state has its own style of driving depending on where you are in that part of the state too. So if I go to Boom and say, "Hey, Boom, I'm in New York. I want to borrow your car," but I was in 3 accidents this past month. What's he going to say? No. Right? Now, without those 3 accidents, what's he going to say? Let me think about it, right? So he's going to analyze me and figure out if he can trust my driving skills to drive in New York. But let's say we're going to California and we're out in the middle of a desert. It's just a 1-lane highway. And I say, "Boom, can I drive your car?" And he's going to sit there and think about it and be like, "Oh, of course. There's nothing out here that I have to worry about." More likely, yeah, go ahead. Right? So that's the same thing. Xbox, every company does this. So it's not just Xbox. So is Starfield considered at one point in time? I'm sure it has been. Has Indiana Jones been considered? I'm sure it was. And then they said, "You know what? I think we need to go back to Disney and say we need a guarantee that this stays on Xbox." And this is where we are, right? And what happened during the show, right? During the podcast, Phil said that they want to do right by Xbox. They want to guarantee that the brand stays alive. They want to do right by it. So if they're going to do right by it, of course, this is what's going to happen, you know? But that's not to say that nobody ever said, "You know what? This is always going to be off the table." Somebody's looking at it and considering, hey, should Halo multiplayer, because it's free, go out to the other consoles? Somebody is looking at that. Obviously, there are other people that are above, also looking at the analytics going, yeah, we could do that, but could it hurt the brand? Okay. So and now you have another set of analytics. Would it hurt the brand if it went there? Or if it didn't hurt the brand, how well could it help the brand if it went to these places? Okay. So these 4 games, so what? It's a test market, right? That's what they're doing. They're going to analyze those 4 games.
Yep.
That's just putting your toes in the sand. Did we have a problem? Did we forget this? Did we have a problem when PlayStation said, "You know what? It's been 2 years. We're going to put Spider-Man on PC. It's been 2 years. We're going to put God of War on PC. Horizon Zero Dawn, that's also going to go to PC." Did we have a problem with that? No, we said, "Oh, it's been 2 years. Hey, you know what? They've run out of money coming from these games. They put it on PC and they will get the PC market. They will get more influx of money coming in to help produce the next set of games." We all said that. Did we not? So what's the difference here? Right? What's the difference? Nothing. And that's the thing that a lot of people are forgetting in this community, that you're being hypocrites when it comes to stuff like this. And that's the thing that I'm trying to remember. Everybody needs to have an open mind when it comes to stuff like this, right? There are many, many people. You're just one person with one opinion. Many people that are actually looking into the numbers on deciding this stuff. This is a machine. Microsoft itself is a machine, and Xbox is number 3 on the moneymaker. So that should tell you something.
Above Windows, PS, by the way, which is bonkers.
Right? So that tells you that there are people looking into this stuff. So none of this, and don't get me wrong, you are right for having your initial gut reaction, hot take, feelings. We all had them. We all like, what are you talking about? You have to have, we're all human. So it's going to come out like that, but you have to sit back and think about it. And then, you're just one person with an opinion. Now, our opinions do matter when it does affect us, when it comes to certain things. And we do have to speak up. And that's why we have to speak up intelligently, legitimately, respectfully, right? We can't be twisting words. We can't be, taking things out of context to show that we're better than them. We're this guy. We're that guy. These idols have fallen, and now we're the next set of idols. No, none of that stuff. Forget all that stuff. We can do all this, and still have this out there. Now, if these leaks were legitimately pushed out to like, hey, we need to get this out there so that way the people can speak up. Fine, we'll probably find out in another 10, 20 years when they set the next set of videos on, hey, this is the Xbox series era, right? I don't want to call it the other guys, but it's the era of the Xbox series and all the issues that had happened. Here's a rehash of our versions of what had happened at that time. Remember with those videos, they leaked to what's his name? Keeley.
Jeff Keighley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they leaked it to Keeley so he could leak it out. That was done on purpose. Okay, so who's to say that this wasn't done on purpose, right? So we don't know. And again, you can't just sit there and point fingers when you don't know the truth. You can, again, have your feelings, but you got to think about it. So now that I'm done preaching,
No. Listen, brother, this is a
You know?
conversational podcast, brother. You go crazy. You give us your
but-
thoughts and your theories. It's what
but,
we're here for.
but I'm using life experiences, right, with my company and the stuff that we've done, and that's the thing, because I literally just had this conversation with one of my coworkers about money within our own company, right? Why can't we use another company that's within our company? They're our sister company. Why can't we use them? But yet we don't know how to pay them, and then they want to charge us 3 times the amount of the industry standard. You know what I mean? Because they are a bigger set of another industry that we kind of overlap a little bit. So and it's like, why can't we do this? We haven't been able to do this. We've asked these questions, okay? And this stuff like this is what's going on every day to Xbox and other places in the industry, outside of the industry, other industries. This happens every day. Everybody's analyzing everything. When you're analyzing your girlfriend and you're like, I don't know about this, she's acting crazy. Or you're like, I don't know about this, she's acting kind of crazy, I'm kind of liking this. There's different things that we do. And this is a part of life. All right. So now the next part of the analytics that I'm looking at this show of, I'm excited for the next hardware. I know I just got my second Series X for free, doing all my rewards points. I am so burnt out from doing them. I'm like, man, I should have kept up with it because I could have tried to like discount this next one. But yeah, the next console is going to be great. And that's the beauty, is they're not leaving the console space just yet. Remember, with all the information you have, everything can change. So whatever you know today can change tomorrow, and then you might look wrong today because tomorrow the outcome was different. So as you grow with knowledge, you will have to alter your opinions too, and you are right to do so. You can't be held to yesterday's information when today's newest information has changed. But I believe that the hardware will be the most powerful, and it's exciting to see. It's going to be
They told us it
another
would be.
jump,
Yeah.
another leap. And it's, you look at from the 1X to the Series X, that was a huge leap. That was amazing. Hopefully this next leap will also get devs started from the get-go to use the tools, because once these devs start using tools and they don't use the tools that they need to be using, that's what happens. Let me stand off to the side so you can see me. That's what happens.
Gotcha.
Is they're not going to backtrack and go back and put some of the stuff in because it's already too late. They only have so much room to put so much information in, and they have to keep going. Otherwise, if they keep backtracking, they'll never put this game out, and the game will just flop.
No, you're making great points. So again, Dredd, I think you nailed it. I really do. For you on your closing arguments, if you will.
Okay.
What's the highlight for you of what was said in this 22-minute interview with Tina Amini?
The highlight is basically nothing has changed. Everything is still the same that was said before. It's just because everybody took it out of hand and ran with every conspiracy theory that you could think of. They held true to what they said before. Game Pass is not going anywhere. Certain IPs will stay exclusive to the console/PC and cloud. Okay, so you'll see it. So think about it this way: it'll stay exclusive to the Xbox platform itself.
Right.
So wherever the screens are, that's where they want to be. Your game is yours. You remember this little thing that was what was that called? The blockchain. This is the same format that they're doing. You own that. Well, leasing the ownership of exposure to that game, and you can play it wherever you want, no matter what the platform is that they have access to. Your saves are there.
Yep.
Everything is underneath that ecosystem, and you can access it. So that's the beauty of it, is nothing's changed. They didn't lie. They didn't make up stories. They didn't backtrack. They basically still stayed the course.
Yeah.
So, and
No, I
that's,
mean,
that's why I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a fair assessment, Dred. Great stuff as always, man. Let's first of all, Ham Solo. Good morning, brother. How you feeling?
Good morning. Oh man, I'm still getting up. I went and took my daughter. I was about to go to take my daughter to school, and then I went and looked outside, and it's like a freaking blizzard right now.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Are you kidding me? Where do you live?
Me and my daughter just rolled back over and went back to sleep. And
good for you, man.
That
good for
is
you.
Why I'm late.
Nobody wants to drive in a blizzard. We're gonna get about 3 inches this evening, which is I love the snow. Mrs. Boom and I live for the winter. And in New York, it was like the last Tuesday was the first significant snow in 2 years in New York. Like, what the is happening? But glad to have you here, brother. We're gonna get you in a second.
Yeah,
I know you have a lot of bars to drop. I know obviously you have your show this evening. We're gonna help push that. We can get some people over there to check that out, because you and your partner are gonna get down and drop, which is always a great show. So we will get to that in a hot second. Yes. Oh no. Well, thank you for being here, brother. Of course. Crispy Bomb, I want to bring you in, but before I do, let me catch up on Super Chats, because there's been quite a few of them. Coach Hooded Canuck, who's been a channel member for 5 months, says this: Diablo 4, the first ABK game on Xbox Game Pass, March 28th. Let's go. Indeed. And that's a big one. That's a big one, folks. Bold Alpha Wolf Pack, generous friend of the program, drops an outstanding $5 Super Chat. And he says, if we think about what Sarah said, the new Xbox would be able to play PC games if they intended to have the best games in the world on the next generation Xbox. And you're not too far from the truth, sir. We were going to see, but the next generation hardware is going to be more powerful than what we have now, and it's going to be leaps and bounds more powerful. I cannot wait for it. I'm buying both day one. I'm going to get the handheld for the room. I'm going to get the big boy for the underneath the TV, as I always do. And I cannot wait for 2026, because that is the rumor. Again, it is a rumor, folks. But I think they are going to jump PlayStation. I really do. Stuff Storm, who's been a channel member for 6 months, says this: feeling cute. Might work on my parasocial relationship with Xbox later. Yes, more games will come but Game Pass is safe, and I will get my get my pebbles. Good stuff, Sean. Sith Lord, generous friend of the program, drops an outstanding $2 Super Chat and says he's looking forward to Diablo coming to Game Pass. Yeah, I mean, I bought it day one. I wish I wouldn't have, to be honest with you, but I did. I got the deluxe edition, as I always do. But if you didn't get it, March 28th is around the corner, so good on that for being one of the first ones to drop. Sean Johnson. Sean, good morning, kind sir. He drops a very generous $10 Super Chat and says, coming soon to PlayStation 5, Ghosts of Sea of Thieves, Last of Pentiment, Spider-Man Grounded, and my favorite, God of Hi-Fi Rush. Welcome, PlayStation players. I mean, listen, I'm a purist. I'm gonna just die on the hill. I think exclusives matter. Do those are those exclusives like console sellers? I think Phil even made mention of that. Maybe not. I think Sea of Thieves is a testament to the dedication that Rare has to that particular IP. The fact that it has over 25 million, I think it's even 30 million players now, is pretty amazing. All of those games are going to potentially do good on. Now the question is, will they do good on PlayStation? I don't know. Will they do great on Switch? That I have to say, an astounding yes. I think all of them do well on Switch. It just,
This just in, Redfall is going over there, and their score will be raised almost to 99.
We'll see. We'll see if he gets there or not. That's a good one. I like that. We have Silly Mikey drops a very generous $7 super chats. Thank you so much, Mikey, and thanks for being here. He says companies are always brainstorming ideas. That doesn't mean that those ideas are ever taken seriously. All options are taken into account. Doesn't mean anything. Yeah, again, this conversations are happening. That's a great point, Mikey. Chris R drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, corporations consider things all the time. Most never happen. Remember when Halo almost came out on the Nintendo DS, lots of ideas aren't executed. Again, Chris, fantastic point. Sean Johnson drops an additional very generous $2 super chat and says, the shadow drop is now the Sarah drop. Oh, I like that. I like that coin line there. Lord Roughness drops a very generous £5 super chat, and he says, you left me hanging yesterday, Boom. I had my hand up for a 5, and Phil, Sarah, and Matt doubled down. Did I miss a super chat yesterday, bro? If I did, I apologize. I can't believe I missed one. He says Phil, Sarah, and Matt double down on their decade message. # keep feeding Game Pass. I will go look and I will go find it now, Lord Roughness. And if I did miss it, apologies for that. And I will read it live on the air. So I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to go look for this super chat from Lord Roughness. And because I get really upset with myself when I miss them. And I want to go to Crispy Bomb. I have like a very detailed list of what I took away. And I will get to that in momentarily, but I want to hear from you because, like I said, this podcast, first of all, I thought it's in a controlled setting. Understand, this is a Microsoft show; it's controlled, but that doesn't mean that there was not truth, and that does not mean that there wasn't substance to what was said by the three bigs. 22 minutes. What were your takeaways from this? Were all of your questions answered?
I had no questions. They reiterated exactly what I thought. Okay. I brought out that quote in the beginning of the podcast for a reason, because I said this myself before Phil said it. And I look at Phil and I say, at the end of the day, community matters. And when I speak about Gears, for example, I'm speaking from a community thought process. This isn't some like illogical thought process. I have people that are more prominent, in my opinion, about Gears saying, please let it come to PlayStation. And then I took a step back because I'm me. And I said, why would they put Gears on PlayStation? Gears is a pinnacle of graphical fidelity. Gears is a tentpole of the Xbox in general. The 360 would not have been as successful as it was without Gears. We can all agree on that. So I question, and I'm still seeing people writing about this, saying that, they're considering, I don't even believe they considered Gears, okay, out of all of them. Now, I did say, it is interesting that they separated the two. You could download the multiplayer or the single player. And that's for multiple games. Halo and Gears. You could download, separately. So I always found that interesting. But I also said, how do you sell, and this is where Sarah comes in, the most powerful, that the leap that we don't even know, because I believe AI is involved, all of these other things. The leap that Sony could try to touch, but it's not going to happen unless they're going to take a big loss, because AI is going to do something that many people don't realize. I've done my research. I'm telling you, there are some things that are happening behind the scenes that we have no idea. And all I can tell you right now is that Gears is not going to PlayStation. It's not. I don't care what any article is written, anything like that. It's not happening. It is too important to the brand. They don't want to damage the brand, people. Okay. The brand of Xbox is healthy. We got the 34 million. I mean, just look at how they treated Sarah announced Diablo, new hardware, and said the 34 million comment. Okay. Game Pass is alive and well. You're getting Diablo 4. I'm going to try it, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Like, now, hey, I didn't buy it. Y'all beta tested for me. That's what PlayStation dudes would say, right? So let's go. Okay? Like, they have stood by what they believe. And they believe that there are certain IPs, certain games that are not the tent poles. Okay? And Starfield, Indiana Jones, I ain't going there. That's from Phil's mouth. Just saying. Y'all exposed yourself. Okay? Especially the stands. You exposed yourself. You let me realize that, oh, you do want our games, and you were just trashing it for nothing. Okay? That's on you, bro. I didn't trash. Hey, I say Helldivers 2. Okay, great. I played Horde. I played Zombies on Call of Duty. Oh, wait, Call of Duty's about to come. You think you know, and then you look at what they said. 4 games that need some more eyes on it, that they think is, probably high meta, or went into preview and have released, like Grounded. I mean, I think PlayStation community would eat up Grounded, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's
I
definitely
really
possible.
do.
Sure. I mean,
You know what I mean?
You know why?
It would boost the community. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's
Yep.
what I saw from them. They want to boost certain communities, but they also know, like, hey, like, yes, Halo would be successful over there. Yes, Gears would be successful over there. But at the end of the day, these are tent poles of what Xbox has stood for: multiplayer gaming, ecosystem, community, all of these things that mean something to us as an Xbox gamer. And that's why all of these, and trust me, some of the things I've heard are insane. And I couldn't believe it. And maybe it helped that some of the community said, no, like, this is not cool. But they doubled down regardless as of now. And I've lost respect for a lot of people. I've gained respect for more people than I've lost respect. But at the same time, I understand. I get it. I'm a different gamer. Okay. I love my ecosystem. I love my controller. And I love the people that I have joined with over these years just because of a simple thing as Game Pass. And I don't have to buy those games. They know this. And that's why Matt saying, hey, Game Pass is there. It's staying the way it is. Relax. And that's what he said verbatim. But that's exactly what he meant. You know what I mean? And he looked like he was about to fight somebody on there for a second. Everybody is laughing about it. But seriously, Sarah announced such great things that people will overlook and not understand. Like, yeah, Diablo's already there anyway. Like, are we not understanding that, Microsoft, as Phil said, is one of the biggest publishers on PlayStation now? Come on, dude. Like, you have the FTC still lingering. If you're going to drop Call of Duty into Game Pass, you got to give a bone, right? I mean, let's be honest. So, I don't know. Like, we'll see what the titles are. I think they're not going to be what you think. I mean, shoot, there's games like Redfall that hey, why not throw it there? See what happens. They don't have a lot of first-person shooters, right? I mean, come on. You know, we can speculate, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, Xbox has stood on their hill. And I respect the hell out of that. I'm sorry. And I'm going to leave it at that.
No, I mean, good stuff is always. First of all, let's welcome in Kay Asante. What's going on, brother? Mr. Vacation. How you feeling?
Good day, good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here. I had to jump in real quick and partake of this great communion, as it were, of Xbox. I got my Xbox hoodie on, my onesie on to commemorate the situation. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
How much time do we got with you?
Oh, you got like 20, 25 minutes. I'm good. I'm here to listen to Ham. I want to hear what people have to say. Go ahead.
Okay. So Fuzzy, I'm going to bring you in next, if that's okay. Let me just, because Sam, Ham Solo, how much time do you got?
Oh man, I'm kicking it. I got time today.
Okay, so you know what?
The man's got time.
So let me do this, if you don't mind. Let me bring in Fuzzy, and then I bring you in. I bring Kay Asante, and then obviously, hopefully, we'll get King David and Hargi Chani in here as well. Welcome to the near 1,000 people here checking out the show, which is astounding on a Friday morning. Hopefully, you are enjoying the banter. Obviously, this is not a bunch of yes men. This is a bunch of gamers who have opinions. So far, Dread has dropped it like it was hot. Crispy as well. I've given my spiel, but I have a few other things a couple of the takeaways that I walked away with that a lot of people haven't actually mentioned yet. But Fuzzy Belvedere, you have a lot to say, sir. And I'm interested to get your hot take on it because, like I said, this was probably, I mean, it is, I don't think we've ever seen it. We've been podcasting for many years. This was covered as if this was like a showcase, right? Like a podcasts were covering a podcast, and it was viewed by a lot of people because there are a lot of people invested in Xbox. Xbox, I think, is in a position where, especially when you look at first party, they kind of have Sony on the ropes. Now, I'm not saying Sony doesn't have good first party. What I'm saying is that what we got confirmed yesterday is Sony does not have a major AAA bomb coming out from first party until April of 2025. That is 13 plus months away. That is a big problem. And Xbox, well, thanks to Matt Booty, he confirmed over 10 major releases this year. I don't think you say that unless you have major releases to release.
Yeah.
And that does give Sony, I think you might want to consider hitting the panic button because sure, Helldivers 2, amazing game. I'm freaking loving it. Final Fantasy is going to slap. That's why I bought it. But the truth of the matter is it does. We don't know what else they have outside of MLB The Show, which is a multi-plat. What were your personal takeaways? Because I think they answered a lot of questions yesterday.
Yeah. Well, the two key things that I was looking towards as far as them answering was, are there going to be any changes to Game Pass? And how many games are going over? What does this cadence look like? And I'll start with the Game Pass aspect. The biggest thing Sarah Bond did was answer about the ABK stuff, because there were some rumblings as far as maybe some of their bigger new titles may not go there day and date, might be 6 months or 12-month delay, things along those lines. Especially considering they were like falling under that Microsoft gaming as opposed to directly under Xbox. So there could have been that technical loophole that they could have gotten or backed away from type of deal. But so glad that she confirmed that those titles are going in, and they're starting with Diablo. And I know a lot of people are probably wondering, well, what about the older Call of Duties and stuff like that? And Kay Asante and a few others have kind of, dialed me in as far as like some of the big reasons why you may not see those right away is because they're not in the Microsoft store right now. They're on Steam, they're, other places, but to get it so you have that dual entitlement where if you have the Xbox copy and the PC, you get the PC copy and stuff like that, or with it being in Game Pass, you have the option of playing it on your console or PC. That's going to take some time, some development time or some behind the scenes time to kind of get that stuff all aligned. So between March 28th, I think it was, for Diablo till probably the June showcase, we'll probably get a good bit of those in there. So expect that there will be some sort of cadence of seeing those maybe once a week or once a month or something like that. They have a drop similar to what they did with Bethesda, but it's going to take a little bit longer. The Bethesda titles were already on the Microsoft store, so that's why it was a little bit faster. But that was one of the big questions, because long term for me with Xbox, Game Pass is the the core, the center, the main pillar.
Well, it's
The games,
it's technically the exclusive if you
right?
want to be technical.
Yeah, I mean the games are always going to be there. All of them going in there day one. That was the key thing that there was some doubt. Let's just say on my part, but that was answered. That takes care of that one. So that squashes that. Now, when it comes to the games going to other platforms, I'm not 100% satisfied with the answer because remember, it was originally one game, then it was two games. Now we know it's four games. So okay, maybe Hi-Fi Rush, maybe Pentiment, because those would fall into those smaller titles that are not necessarily console sellers and things like that. I'm still not a fan of Hi-Fi Rush going over there. I understand the business, but the Sega kid in me is like, this is BS for the fact that it's your first new IP in this generation and you're giving that one up. Like, I don't know. That just feels a little weird to me, to some extent. But maybe it's not the first one because Pentiment technically would be the first new IP. And then once again, that's going over there. So it's like, what are you doing? But it doesn't hurt the brand. It doesn't necessarily hurt me personally, but it does make me consider my other options moving forward, as far as where I might make my third party purchases, which now will more than likely be Steam. This showcase or this podcast proved to me that probably in my best interest, since I do have a Series X and I do have a pretty decent PC, it's probably better to start transitioning more towards the PC aspect. And I encourage those that are console only to kind of look at that, but also remember the key thing for console only players, the thing that they drove home is that there is going to be a continuation of hardware. And with the statements of it being pretty much a bigger leap than what we've seen in previous generations and things like that, that is good news. Now, there is a side thing that nobody's probably going to talk about. With that generational leap, expect that it's going to be digital only. I'm sorry to say for you physical copy people out there, if there is anything physical in this next generation, it is going to be nothing more than a license on that disc. You won't be able to play offline. You won't be able to play the game without downloading the rest of the game because they probably won't have the entire contents on disc. So be prepared. Yes, you'll get better hardware because here's the thing. A disc can only be read so fast and get information off of it. So for it to really be a generational leap, that physical stuff has to go away. Be gone.
Yeah.
Physical hard drives have to go away. So SSDs are now the standard because they can read and write so much faster. That's just the nature of the business. Be prepared. So I'm warning you in advance. Not that this is bad news. In all honesty, I think this is a better move forward, but be prepared. No physical next gen.
Are you leaking this? Oh
no,
no,
I'm not leaking this. I'm deducing it from what they said.
Exactly.
Like if it's a generational leap, you have to do away with physical media. That's your slowest or your weakest link at this point. Same thing with like standard hard drives. Which
let me put one caveat in there for you. They do have, and I agree with you, but they do have a system now in their store where if you check in once every 30 days, you can hit the play offline button and even all your digital media can be played offline. So they can kind of push it there and then you still have all your offline stuff and still only digital media. Continue. Right. You are cooking, sir. I will go on mute.
No, but that's one of the big things for the console only players. Look forward to this generational leap in hardware. Now, the question mark will be, will third party be up to speed when it comes to the programming aspect? We shall see. Like, I think the biggest thing is considering how many studios they have, that should be less of a concern or less of a worry because you have so many internal studios that are going to have this hardware that they're going to be able to fiddle with, time and time again and learn the ins and outs and share data between the studios. So that makes it a little bit better of an environment. And when you have 40 plus studios, the range of knowledge that you're going to have to work with should make this generation, especially from launch, considering now they probably already have like the 5 to 10 games that they want for launch already in development and kind of on a schedule to be ready for launch. And some of them might be cross-gen, some of them might not be, but whatever the case may be, you can assure yourself that they're going to focus on that hardware. Even though they're putting stuff on other hardware, that your platform or that console is going to be the focus. But I think in the long term, like at the 20-year mark, if you're not already on PC by that point, or if internet gets better, TVs, cell phones, controllers, possibly with hardware, enough hardware in them where that's all you need between your TV and the controller. Maybe that's the 20-year future, but at least for the short term, for the next 5 to 10 years, their console is going to be the end. I wouldn't say end all be all, but it is going to be the thing to gravitate to as far as for their platform. Now, the one drawback I also have with them putting stuff on other platforms is how much does that possibly slow down development time for their games? Because we all know they have to focus on it being on the Xbox platform, Xbox being console and PC, or at least their own consoles and PC being Windows based. Having a PlayStation version, if it comes after the fact, does that interfere with the cadence of DLC or the cadence of updates or season stuff and things like that? We shall see. They have plenty of teams. They have a lot of support, studios, or they have the access to contractors that can help with that. They don't necessarily need something like a Nixis or something like that can focus solely on that. I guess the other caveat would be, is Sony going to be playing ball like they were before when it came to things like Minecraft? Are they going to give them the dev kits, or are they going to be little, I don't feel like cursing, but are they going to be little, crap heads as far as giving the new PS6, or if there is a PS6, or are they going to give the PS5 Pro over to them to allow them to develop for these games? So if you're a PlayStation guy or gal and you're out there, here's some key things to take into account. One, if you want this to continue, if you want to see games like Starfield to eventually, let's say 5 years from now, make it to your platform, you better support whatever those 4 titles are. You better make sure you bought them, your friends bought them, your neighbors bought them, your grandma bought them, everybody bought them. If you want to see anything else go, this is a test. And if the test shows no better results than what we see now currently, where Hi-Fi Rush might only sell, like, let's say, I think it's at 2 million copies between PC and console. If we don't see at least 2 million over at PlayStation side, that's pretty much going to be the end of your test kind of thing. So if you want this stuff, buy it, and you better make sure you get everybody else to buy it on that platform. The other thing that you're going to have to start worrying about is Sony going to be cooperative? If they're not going to be cooperative, then that means you might get the game over there and then it's going to run like crap. Not because Microsoft made it run like crap, because Sony didn't want to give them the dev kits in a timely manner. And then you might have those same issues with Call of Duty down the road as well. If the PS5 Pro is the next console out of PlayStation, you got to make sure you call for PlayStation to make sure that those dev kits get to Activision ASAP. I mean, otherwise you'll be complaining that, oh yeah, Microsoft made the game worse, but yet nobody's having problems on PC. Nobody's having problems on Xbox. You'll know exactly who to blame would be PlayStation at that point. But all of that to be said, overall, I think you could tell that there was some uncomfortableness with Phil as far as his mannerisms and things like that. But the message is now the panic that we had before can be, squashed or greatly reduced. But the key things are, if PlayStation steps up to the plate and starts buying these games, there will be another 4 more experiments, let's say, in the following year or the year after. But if you guys don't want the games, don't buy the games, and this won't ever be an issue on the PlayStation side of things. See, I'm probably part of the problem of why this experiment even happened, because I went and bought Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo on the PS5 because I didn't feel like waiting that year for it to come to Game Pass. I wanted to play it right away. So I probably made this problem even worse. But I think some of the outrage, and we'll never know the true answer, but considering that it was brought up, even though the Indiana Jones aspect, I don't think was as much of a consideration. Like, it was probably on the considered list, but it probably was low on the considered list. But I would say something like Starfield, I almost get a gut feeling that it was high on the considered list, and the pushback probably reduced it from that considered list to, let's just keep that with the Halo and the Gears area where those are off limits kind of thing. But we'll see. Overall, happy with the overall podcast. But like I said, me being more of a PC guy now, or leaning more to PC, I can't see anything wrong with the direction that they're going. But if I was console only after this next gen, we shall see. But then again, by that point, I think the transition for all the companies will be to get away from the box under your TV. So we'll see how long it takes PlayStation to do it. Nintendo could probably still get away with a portable, and considering that, you know, they always seem to be behind on the tech aspect of things. But that I've probably rambled enough at this point.
No. You're making phenomenal points. I mean, listen, obviously, a lot of the questions, and I'll get to the super chats momentarily, folks, because obviously we have KSI who's got you know, he's limited to time. I think he's got 10 minutes or so left. So we're going to get to him, then we'll get to Ham, and of course, welcome Hargeet. We can't wait to hear what Hargeet has to say. I know he was live yesterday with Fonz. It's on my backlog. I only have so much time in a day, so I got to get to what you said. But we'll get from the horse's mouth. Ham Solo, give me just a few minutes to get Kay Asante out of here, and we're going to bring you right in. Kay Asante, let's get your hot take on this. Obviously, you were on vacation, but you still found time to listen to it.
Yep.
What are your initial impressions? Because obviously, I think for me, and again, this is just my personal opinion, I walked away very satisfied. All the questions that I had personally were answered. I think the biggest one for me was what does Game Pass look like after this messaging? Are they going back on their word? Are ABK games going to be put onto this pedestal tier that we have to pay more for? Those were answered. ABK games, day and date, when they come out new. ABK collection, starting with Diablo, is going to be filtered in a little at a time for Xbox Game Pass. That's all I needed to know. What were your hot takes from yesterday's 22-minute show?
Yeah. So, okay. So first and foremost, I will say, you know, I've had a lot of great opinions on the show so far. And by and large, I agree with most of what everybody has to say. You know, Dredd was really dropping some bars there. You know, the business considerations always seem to be different than what the consumer considerations are. And the key is to get them aligned to where you think the considerations that you have are theirs. But sometimes, every once in a while, it kind of goes like this and it diverges a bit. And that's when the veil drops and you realize that, oh yeah, they're a business, they're not your friend. You know what I mean? And
right.
And unfortunately, and I will warn now, this weekend I will have a show and my thumbnail will be spicy, boy. Oh, doggy. Anyway, unfortunately, we find ourselves in this position where, you know, I hear what's going on. I've been kind of catching up and stuff. It's super interesting to me because from where I sit, I feel like, and I've said this before, depending on how you game or how you approach gaming is where you will sit in this realm and how you feel about it, right? If you are a person who games everywhere or have the ability to game everywhere, then this just becomes, okay, well, these are these options that either are added to my gaming or removed from my gaming, whatever, what have you, depending on whatever platform you're on, right? But if you tend to be focused on one platform game, whichever platform that may be, then you advocate for that platform's success overall. Makes absolute sense, right? Where I fall on all of this is, it seems to me that a lot of credible sources lost their credibility throughout this process. And it gives me pause because some of those sources, and this is not to spill any tea or anything like that, you know, we've spoken to many people in the background. We've seen things and heard things that under normal circumstances take it to the bank, right? And somehow, some way, it all has kind of shuffled in the deck, right? So I feel like, if nothing else, I'll just put it at the fact that there was a lot of creative, useful outrage that happened there. You know, I'll put it that way: useful outrage that happened there, right? You've heard me say on a few occasions, while I don't think you should be cutting the parachute while jumping off the bridge, they should hear you because the outrage and your opinions are useful. And the outcome here, where it now finally sits, tells me that the outrage was very useful, and take with that what you will, okay? But what I'll say is, you know, I think it's a good look that they came and they basically reaffirmed their commitment to the Xbox main, right? You brought them to the dance. You got to dance with the one you brung. Don't diss them now. That's not cool, right? I've always had the criticism that even if they were trying to diversify their business model, they should at least give it a cycle and let some of these flywheel games start coming out first before you talk about it. And maybe that's what you would have gotten until the leaky ship started leaking. Who knows, right? We will never know that part of it. But I do think, like as Boom was saying, you know, most people left this feeling somewhat good about it, feeling interesting, like, hey, they're changing things, but they're still keeping what you think is important, right? I will say though, and this is no gloom and doom and none of that, I will say though, the moment that PlayStation players will mark on their calendars that games became day and date was on PC was when Helldivers 2 became successful. That was the day. That was the day, right? You will remember this day in the future when you go, hey, why is Wolverine day and date on PC? Why is these other games? Because remember, as Boom has already said, you're not getting another big game from them until 2025, right? Either shortly after, we're going to start seeing day and date on PC. Why? Because they have finally seen the money that's on the table. Will they turn around and go, no, we have loyalty to our brand? No, they will continue to grab said money on the table more and more every time. That is the fiduciary duty of business. So that's going to happen. Mark my word. Now, on the same token, these 4 games, folks, I think I'm gonna call my show "Search Your Soul" because oh boy, these are
search your feelings.
Search your feelings, right? There are some mature analogies I could use this morning, but I will not do that. I'll just say, you know, the cup of coffee is starting to spill, and just a few drops have fallen out just now, right? But you know, what is good here is that, however the reason and however the way that it showed up, that they heard your opinion, and I'm in the school of thought that because they heard your opinion loud and clear, some of the stuff that would have happened in the dead of night, oh boy, did not happen in the dead of night, right? Yep. And because of that, there's a lot of calibration going on, right? But at the end of the day, much like this was the day when Helldivers 2 ushered the day and date of PC on PlayStation, understand that these 4 games are an harbinger of things to come. Search your feelings for you know it is true.
No, right? So, I think you're onto something. And yes. I mean, I don't play on PC. Someone could gift me a $5,000 PC and it would literally sit here and collect dust. I would use it for podcasting. I'm not a PC guy. It's just not my bag.
Yes.
So that's why I continue to buy consoles. I bought Helldivers and it's a freaking fun game, man. I really enjoy myself with it.
Yes.
But there is something to be said about, you know, the success. All it takes is one success to open the floodgates to others. We've been saying this for forever. Spider-Man 2 is a perfect example of if there would have been a dual release, they might have sold 15 million copies, maybe 17 million copies, maybe 18 million copies, because PC is the biggest market in gaming.
But remember, you guys are talking about PC that is today, right?
Right.
And when anybody talks about that world of, we're moving to PC, you remember the PC that is today. And it seems that there's a world where they're taking account of many different avenues of all of this. So when that time comes, when maybe PC might be the place you look, they are also pushing on the front where those handhelds are starting to get mighty attractive.
Indeed.
A lot of people are starting to look at it. And the flat, big old gaming PC of yesteryear may not be what you look at tomorrow when you're making those decisions.
Smart.
So just, pump your brakes, right? What I would say also is maybe don't throw the baby out with the bathwater as far as the influencers and the journalists, because it seems to me that some people got not played necessarily, but used as useful tools in this environment. And everyone's left holding the bag at this point. But it was like, there was a lot of hyperbole in the middle because, the sky is falling. I get it. But a lot of these people who up until now have been beyond reproach are now seemingly being thrown to the wolves because, y'all were wrong. As Dredd was saying, right? You don't know what comes out in the final statement. But in the background, when those conversations are being had, all things may very well be and truly on the table. So when people come out and say things, maybe for that moment, it was damn true, right? And then that moment passed and it wasn't true anymore. But for that moment, it was damn true, So we don't know. Now, as far as the amount of games that will go and all of that, my theory on that, real quick, is think about every single console, every single studio they now own, right? And you know the games and some of the titles coming out right now, right? Some of those titles were basically being built before they were owned by Microsoft, right? Think about that. You can pick some of them out of your head right now, right? Those titles most likely didn't hit pause when they were acquired by the multi-trillion-dollar company. They have code for PlayStation that's there. It doesn't dry up. They don't throw it away. Maybe it was paused for a while and continued. So if you want to know what's going where, I don't necessarily think they're spinning up new versions of old games that now you don't like. You know, those are games that were in development long before they were acquired. And since they've acquired them, now they're using them in this useful way. Grounded, ding, ding, ding. Like, come on, right? Right? You know, and there are others. You know, I stand with Xbox era. I will say that and move on. There are others.
I said that in the beginning.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, you know, understand that your outrage or your respectful dissension in the ranks is useful moving forward. And because of that, you should continue to put the boot on the neck and advocate for what you want, because they listen. And because of that, certain moves will get made. And maybe, you know, you won't be sitting there building your horseshoes while the Jetsons just fly over your head. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
But yes, I will leave y'all to it. I'll be listening in, but you know, I just came back. When Daddy puts on the Xbox onesie, it means it's work day. We're gonna have some fun with the kiddos. But I will leave y'all to the great conversation. I'll keep listening.
Brother, thank you so much for being here. Super appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Solo. Let's get your hot take on this, brother. Obviously, you have voiced your opinion on this. You've been on the socials, you've been on your show. But this was what we were all waiting for, Ham. We needed clarification. I think that there was a lot of, I don't want to say misinformation, because I don't think anyone went out of their way to bamboozle the Xbox fan base. I think that some people got it wrong, and maybe because things changed, like Kay Asante just said. Listen, the bottom line is this was reported. I don't want to say that everyone reported it as a matter of fact. Some did, of course. But we now know what the future of Xbox looks like. And for at least for starters, it's bright. You know, Game Pass isn't going anywhere. It's only going to be on Xbox and PC. Console hardware is being made. They have a plan that goes deep into 20 years from now, which is saying that the brand isn't going anywhere. But for you personally, what were your major takeaways from this 22-minute podcast?
This is what jealousy looks like. That's what, you know, my thoughts were. This is what jealousy looks like. When I seen, you know, the bro Tim tripping, I seen all these folks tripping and freaking out online, I went on ahead and said, you know what? I'm gonna keep my mouth shut until they actually say something. And you know what? If I had flowers in my hand, I'd be throwing them at my feet. Because I think that
on the ass, fella. I love it. There you go.
I thought that was a phenomenal decision. Shout out to Yo Folk Dem in the chat. He said Xbox is up, PlayStation is down.
And straight up facts.
And that's a fact. If you want to talk about first party and stuff like that, that's a fact. So what are like fanboys and some of the people in the media going to do? Oh, Xbox is doing pretty good. Well, I'm feeling like crap. So let me try to bring them down to my level. Let's all feel like crap. I wasn't buying it from the get-go. Sure, some of this frustration.
You weren't buying this?
No.
You weren't buying this?
No, I ain't got time for that. Some of the people within the media, I'm sure, were absolutely like trying to just get news across or rumors across, right? But
click.
Majority of people were just trying to figure out ways to get under people's skin, trying to figure out ways to say that I've been right all along and you've been wrong. They try to get you so frustrated to either switch over to PlayStation or just give up Xbox completely at all. So then when you come back and you see these interviews that we seen yesterday, you end up feeling like a fool. And you end up not having anywhere to go because you just gave up on the platform that you said you loved. And those people never wanted you. They just wanted you to freak out. So I always thought that, or throughout this last week and a half, 2 weeks, I was just like, man, look at these bozos go. Everyone freaking out, making a big kerfuffle over not a whole lot. You know what? That interview yesterday was phenomenal to me. The whole time I was hooting, hollering, and laughing. When Phil Spencer was speaking, especially when Sarah Bond started to speak, old girl said, yo, can you break it down for me, Sarah? And Sarah said, I got you, dog. And she came through and said, Game Pass, day and day is still a thing. What did I hear in the rumors? Oh, they're going to stop day and date Game Pass, which is actually completely backwards of what the whole Game Pass plan was there for in the beginning. So that was wrong. Starfield is coming. I've told you. Thanks, Refraud. You can keep telling me that every year, all you want until it happens. And when it happens, you know what? I'll probably be 30 days, 40 days in the Starfield by that time. Catch up, I guess, but I highly doubt it's going over there because Phil himself came out and said it's not Starfield. One of the 4 games is not Starfield, and it's not Indiana Jones.
Yep.
2 games I've been told for the last 2 weeks that are coming for sure, right? Not happening. Not happening at all. Not in the least. All games are going third party. We're getting Hellblade. We're getting Avowed. Avowed starting to look good now. You know what you just got done telling me is you were capping for years saying that Xbox games are garbage.
Yep.
But as
Low
soon
metas,
as
60
you get
metas, right?
I got the
Conversation.
receipts, brother.
as soon as you get an inkling that, oh, Xbox might go third party, oh, now your stomach's rumbling? Now you hungry? Man, y'all need to fall back and chill because I think this is ridiculous.
Hold on.
Ridiculous. There's so many people that felt the need to tell I'm going to go on ahead and throw a name out there because I don't care. King Thrash has been harassing me, letting me know the 3 horizons are upon us. The 3 horizons are upon us.
How you not have that guy
Xbox is
blocked,
going third
bro?
party.
I had that guy blocked for years.
You know what? I don't block him. You know why? Because I find his thoughts, his future outlooks hilarious. And I like him to say dumb stuff just so I can look at it. And I don't even respond to it 90% of the time. I just look at it and I'm just like, this clown's still going at it.
What
I guess that makes sense. He's literally yelling at the sun. Hey, why are you so sunny?
while he's jumping over the volcanoing, right?
I mean, I guess so. The conspiracy theories are outrageous at this point. And like, I'm here to watch you make a clown of yourself. I will definitely do it. It's a good time for me because here you are telling me something that you've been telling that you've been trying to tell people for like the last 10 years. Xbox is going. How long have we heard Xbox is going third party? You know, since 2015, and they still haven't yet. Oh, they're not coming out with any new hardware. Oh wait, we got a hardware announcement at the end of this year, and then they're talking about making the strongest hardware that's ever been seen before.
Yeah.
In console gaming. So, I mean, so far, we're kind of 0 for 10
I love it.
So it's just like, at what point were you right? Well, then they're like, oh, wait, but you guys are giving us 4 games. If you don't think 4 games isn't going to be more games, then you're crazy. And I'm looking at you like, hey, guess what? Xbox is one of the biggest publishers in the world.
Yeah.
Do you think they're just going to hold on to every single thing that they make? They literally just bought 2 publishers that are used to putting stuff onto PlayStation. At some point, they're going to want to grab something and put something on another platform and see how it functions. PlayStation, y'all listen up, because as Boom said just a little bit ago, as Kay Asante alluded to, as Fuzzy just got done talking about, y'all better buy them games, because the way it's been looking over there, y'all ain't been buying a whole lot.
A little spooky.
So this
isn't
test
it?
might not be very good. But keep in mind, people buy games on the Switch. So the Switch, I could see being more profitable than the PlayStation, because the PlayStation, a lot of people just buy third-party games and just keep it pushing.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
And Xbox games being brought over there, I personally don't think is going to just launch and do something crazy. But if it does, let me tell you this. This isn't a bad thing for Xbox. This is a piss poor thing for Sony. If Xbox is crushing games on their console, but you can't even sell your own content over there?
Yeah, dude. He's
That's
right.
They've already done it too, and that's fucking what's crazy. Sorry for the language.
That's all right. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm just out here just telling you how I see it. Y'all want me to freak out, but I got all the games. I don't get it. Why do I need to be looking behind me when you're asking me to play? Like, I don't get it. I really don't. Imagine somebody saying, man, I get to play that game in 5 years. I can't wait. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go buy this PlayStation and I'm going to sit at the edge of my bed, put my hands together and make a prayer.
To the
And I
gaming
hope
gods.
that eats you alive, that I'm praying for this game to come to my
And
console.
blowing the
I
controller.
hope it bugs the heck out of you that I might get a game from y'all this year. You don't even know. Nobody knows. So you're going to keep stringing me along thinking that I'm going to be freaking out. I'm going to follow you into the dark woods of nervous and uncomfortableness? Absolutely not. And that's why I thought it was so crazy that everybody else jumped on the bandwagon of, oh, dang it, Xbox, what the heck are you doing? Like, I understand that to a degree. Like, as Kay Asante said, there is some sort of healthiness to letting the company know that, hey, we're still here, we're still listening. What are you doing? Right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, people pretending to throw their Xbox in the trash, people selling it.
Yeah, the guy with the receipt that sold all his games and got 2 pennies. Yeah, that's not good.
People selling their consoles before they even get a word from the company itself.
Yeah.
To me, it's just wild. I mean, they just threw the baby out and just said, you know what? It's not good. And then the doctor showed up and said, what the fuck is your problem? Baby's just fine. Take it back in the house, and they're like, but the other console might get another game in 5 years. Dude, nobody cares. I sure as heck don't.
Be a gamer,
if you get a game halfway into a do you understand that these generations have been about what, 13, maybe 10 years, right? This last generation was 10 years. So you're going to tell me that halfway into the generation, you might get 2 games from us. Out of the how many studios do we have? Can somebody remind me how many studios we got?
Well, technically, it's over 50 if you consider that some of the named studios have multiples. So technically, it's 34. But when you consider all of the other studios, like for instance, Infinity Ward has 4, and so it would be, to be safe. It's over. It's named studios 34. Other studios that have multiples, it's closer to 50.
So is it a bad thing that we have these 50 studios in 2 or 3 games go over? Is it the worst thing in the world? Was it the worst thing? Was it the worst thing when PlayStation ended up having to give up MLB The Show?
Which, it's possible that, I mean, again, they were kind of forced. MLB was like, listen, you're not selling enough. If you want to keep the license, you gotta, you gotta put it out.
Do you want to make money? Okay, do it.
Make money. Yeah, do it. Yeah.
That's what it was at the end of the day. Do you want to make money? Do you want to keep this license? Oh, you do? Okay, do it.
And that was the
guess what?
hypocrisy.
And guess what? The big guy up at PlayStation just as of recently just came up on the stage and said, you know what? Y'all ain't making money the right way. We need to open up PC. We need to open up mobile. All y'all are looking at Xbox like they're doing something crazy. Meanwhile, you guys are just a few years behind doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Preach.
So it's just like, I just don't understand it. You guys are literally giving games over to PC. You guys are literally talking about moving over and doing things on other platforms. But if Xbox says it, it's a problem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah, that's. I mean, listen, folks. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're not already subscribed to Ham Solo, I'm here to tell you you're doing it all wrong. Because this is the kind of rhetoric that you get on his show each and every week, and God damn it, you should be subscribed.
I tell you what, I interviewed Oh No, It's Alex yesterday, and boy, we had a good time.
Oh, he's funny. He is freaking.
The
I
receipts.
gotta get him on the show. I gotta get.
He won me on Aqua Teen Hunger Force, bro. I'm sorry, like, dude. All of his videos at Aqua Teen, and I'm like, yes.
He's a funny dude, and thankfully, he did a tweet yesterday of all the people. He goes, I what did he say it was exactly? He said I needed to do a health check or something to that effect of a bunch of Xbox and PlayStation people. Thank Christ I wasn't on the list because I think I talked logically, and he was like, yeah, he's not crazy. So thanks so much, Alex. I appreciate it. Listen. Great stuff, Ham Solo. I don't know if you have any time to hang out a little bit more. If you do, hang out by all means. If not, we get you out
with the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. But
yeah,
absolutely, I got time for y'all. It's all good.
Appreciate it very much. Hargeet, listen, brother, I cannot wait to hear what you said, but please let me catch up on the super chats. There's been, my God, so many of them. Thunderdome Gaming Society drops an outstanding $2 super chat, and he doesn't even say anything. So Thunderdome, thank you so much for the generosity, brother, and always being here. Chris McComb drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, people listen to what Xbox clearly said. The Xbox platform is about building a digital library for people to follow, like all PC players with Steam. Very well put. Absolutely fantastic point. Highlander 001, for the love of Joe, has gifted another 5 Double Barrel Gaming memberships, and that is incredibly generous. I mean, he does this almost every day. I don't know how he continues to do this, but the generosity is very, very well. We're incredibly thankful for it. I don't even know what else to say, Highlander, other than thank you for the outstanding, consistent generosity, because it does allow us to do the big giveaways. And of course, we'll talk about that at the end. We have 4 big ones, which are going to equate $3,500 worth of giveaways towards the end of the year. And no other shows are doing that, but we do that because Mrs. Boom and I really kind of want to give back as much as we get. So it's our way of giving back. So thank you for the continued support. J-Mac generous friend of the program, says this after dropping a $5 super chat. Shout out to little J Mac, which of course is his son. He turns the big 13 tomorrow. Salute and happy birthday to little J Mac. That is freaking awesome.
Yeah,
13.
happy birthday.
I'm 53. That means I'm 40 years older. Jesus, I'm old, man. That's crazy. To be 13 and 20 and 24, man, that's awesome. He's going to get a chance to see cars fly. I'm just never going to be able to see that. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. Highlander 001 drops an additional. Well, he's been a channel member for 20 months himself. And he says, I waited until yesterday to see if Microsoft valued me as a customer of Game Pass before I renewed it. I will say this. Yes, they do. Great panel once again. Have a great weekend. Well, thank you, brother. Super appreciate that. And I'm glad. I mean, listen, the truth of the matter is that, and I put myself front and center. I'm a retired New York City police officer. I have a great pension. I worked super long to get it. 21 years invested of my life, and I got it. I didn't get hurt. I didn't hurt anyone in my 21-year career. I'm very proud of that, and I'm here. And my pension is great. I worked super hard to get to where it was because, you know, the way it works with the NYPD, if you want to know some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, you do your best last one or your best three. So I did my best three, and what you do in those best threes, you do your overtime. You put the pedal to the metal for 3 years, and you burn yourself the fuck out. Pardon my French. And you do that for 3 years, and that's how they figure out your pension. So you work, 400, 500, 600, 700 hours in a year, and you try to repeat that for 3 years in a row. And I did ridiculous amounts of overtime, and I worked every tour, and I worked every shitty detail, and I stood in 2-degree weather and 102-degree weather, and it sucked. But I did it because I wanted to be able to have a nice pension, and I do. And with all of that said, folks, even though I have a nice pension, it has a ceiling. And in 2024, everything is super expensive. Everything has gone up. And unfortunately, gaming, which is considered to be a hobby, it's considered to be entertainment. When you are trying to figure out how to, keep the lights on, sometimes for some families, this is the first thing that goes. And the thing I love about Xbox Game Pass, and I said this before and I'll say it again, as someone that grew up in the Pro Jays, which of course is the housing development, this service allows every financial station to be a part of it. And I don't think people give Xbox and Microsoft enough credit for that, because you don't have to make six figures in order to afford $16.99 a month for old Game Pass Ultimate. You just don't. And I think that is incredible. And it's a value unlike anything else. Lord Roughness drops a very generous £2 super chat, and he says, I meant to high five you celebrating, brother. I misread it. Thankfully I didn't miss it, so I don't feel as bad. And thank you for the clarification. And of course you could have just put a message in there. You don't have to give me another $2, but we appreciate it very much. KT the Goat, who's been a channel member for 3 months, says this was a great finesse. Great finesse. Grounded, Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, etc. These aren't going to do well on PlayStation, and Microsoft will tell Xbox don't port anymore. 4D Phil. I mean, if they don't do well, maybe that is a thing. I will say this, and this is just my hot take on it, brother. I personally think that maybe they see a little movement on PlayStation, because those particular games they don't have there. I think personally that they are going to sell like hotcakes on the Switch. I really think Switch people. I'm here. I want to say it's now the collection is about 80 physical games. Like I have over 80 games, and that's not counting the 40 that I have digital. I have over 120 games on Switch. I buy everything on Switch, and I love it. I think it's going to sell really well there. Let's see. Chris Gomez drops on a $5 super chat and says, I expected some surprises in the podcast, but instead that surprise was their commitment to Game Pass staying home. Turns out they're more committed. And absolutely, that's a fantastic point. Pat F., who's been a channel member for 6 months, says, morning panel and chat. Blessed Friday to all, and blessed to you as well. And thank you for supporting the channel, Pat. We have J Mac. Oh no, we have Connor Garrity drops. Wow, a 24-pound super chat. And he says Blizzard Microsoft are sacking 200 people. Oh, that sucks. Cork, Ireland, political and public uproar has started. I didn't even see that story this morning. I don't know. Is that part of the 1900 or is that something new? Connor, first of all, thank you
Probably
so much.
part of the 1900 because you have to
Oh.
notify works councils and stuff like that. So
Okay, so
the process takes a
again,
while.
What we'll do is over the weekend, I still work on the shows for next week. If there's something to report, we'll talk about it on Monday as well. So, Connor, thank you so much for the update, and of course, thank you for the generosity. We have J Mac drops an additional $5 super chat and says Sarah Bond said 34 million with so much confidence it makes you step back and think 50 million is the magic number. DEFCON 1 panic time. Hashtag Xbox World Order. Look, I'm going to say this. When Call of Duty goes into Game Pass, you're going to see a seismic shift in usage. And I think that you're going to see a significant jump because a lot of PlayStation fans, and I'm not saying there's going to be this ridiculous migration where Sony's going out of business. They're gonna lose some people. And I don't think people are selling their consoles. I really don't. I think what you're going to see is people are going to adapt a new platform because of the price, because of the potential value that they find in. Holy shit! I spent $16.99 and I got Call of Duty plus all this other shit. This is crazy. I'm going to play here. And they're less likely to invest and continue to invest in Sony unless it's first party or exclusive. That's how I think a lot of this is going to go down. But again, only time will tell. Lieutenant Hulk drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says 34 million Game Pass users are eating good now. I'm stacking my reward points towards the new Xbox that leaps and bounds anything that exists. Xbox already won 2024. Yeah, I'm about to cross 200,000 points on my account. I'm saving everything. I play the puzzle game every day. Like I do it all. It's fun. I'm a big nerd. What can I say?
It's how I got my second Series X for free.
That's there you go.
And a huge discount on my first Series X. So it's worth it.
Yeah, dude. A few minutes a day. It's crazy not to do it. But I'm gonna pause the super chats there. I want to get Hargeet. Hargeet, look. I don't know because we haven't spoken obviously since the show yesterday. There were a lot of confirmations. I think there were a lot of things to be said about how things were put out there. For me, they answered a lot of questions. What happened for you during an excellently run interview by Tina Amini? I think she did an amazing job. I understand, folks. I get it. It's an Xbox program, but she still has to read the question. She still has to be the paraprofessional. We know that she is. I think she did an amazing job. She literally asked the questions that I would have asked. What were your thoughts, Hargeet?
Yeah, so I mean, as expected, no particulars. That was kind of, I mean, we expected it to be kind of a little nebulous. But
Yeah.
we did get some cool, Game Pass specifics, which is good. We did get, this is a little good and bad. 34 million subscribers. However, that includes all the gold converted to Game Pass Core. That's a little disappointing. I was hoping that would be a little higher number, but I guess that's where they are. They have some work to do to kind of grow that, especially on the PC side. They have a lot of room to grow there, and hopefully they can find ways to market that and make it bigger. But 34 million is a pretty good number. That all the games are coming day and date, right? Including ABK, which means we are getting Call of Duty. So no weird, hey, we're going to have multiple tiers now that are going to have different options, and all that stuff was bunk. It's exactly the way it is. We still get the same thing. It's still, you're getting your day and dates. You're getting everything ABK, day and date, right? All the back catalogs coming in. It's just going to take some time. Fair enough. We're getting Diablo in March, and then it'll start to pour in. We'll get more and more and more of the ABK library, and this year's Call of Duty should be dropping in day and date into Game Pass. That is fantastic news. What I did get a little in the messaging here is that it's 4 games, and I'll add a few words to that to start. We don't know what that means. We don't even know what the 4 games are, and until I have the pattern, I can't tell you what that means, right? If it's to me, if you look at games that are sort of passion projects, Pentiment, and bring that over, Pentiment isn't bringing people to Xbox. It's just a fact. I thought the game was crazy. It's definitely an experience worth having if you want to try it out. But it's not bringing people to Xbox.
I
Right?
got the inside scoop. It's bleeding edge.
There you go.
Have it. Have
I
at
told
it.
you I was going to bring that in.
Have at it, right? If it's something like Halo Master Chief Collection, because they haven't told us what the hell they are, that's a huge different story, right? So until I know what they are, I don't know. And the only reason things like Hi-Fi matter is because we've had no games. That's been the problem, right? The games they gave us are Pentiment and Grounded and Hi-Fi. And it's like, well, you're taking the only thing we have. What are you doing? Once you start getting other games, though, it's like, okay, if you give me Fable, you give me Indiana Jones, you give me Blade, you start giving me games that are actually in that AAA category, fair enough. You want to take the smaller games, fine. It doesn't necessarily mean much. And to what Ham, and I haven't heard all of you because I was in meetings, but what Ham was saying, hey, look, they have that many studios. Is it going to be possible for them to not bring some of these games over? No, it's not. And we know a lot of ABK games, you should just expect a lot of those games are going to go over to other platforms, right? We also don't know what platforms. Didn't really say that either. Like if Pentiment comes out on PlayStation and Switch 2, okay. If Sea of Thieves is just going to Switch, okay, right? I mean, it just depends on where things are going, right? We don't know how this is going to play out, right? So until I know the games, I know the platforms they're going on, it's tough to tell. We did get confirmation that Starfield and Indie, at least not to start, are not going to be going there. We then got the interview, and he said, well, I can't make a promise that it won't happen, but it's not something we're looking at right now, and we shouldn't. I want to make the expectation that the other players on those platforms should not expect to see this there, and hopefully that means something, right? And then I've been saying for a while, in the long run, I expect them to go third party, more just because consoles will start to fade and other platforms will take over, and at that point, it doesn't necessarily matter, right? But for now, you have to play the game you're in, and the console does matter. And so you have to make sure you have a reason for people to be here. Now, no matter what you do, as long as this is a test, it's going to be like a year or something, right? There's going to be a test of what this does. You're starting to look at your next generation then. I would recommend they just kind of leave it at that. Talk about anything else going over after your next gen starts. And then, you can start saying, well, we had this other passion project. It was cool. And now after 3 years, we're going to bring it over to other platforms. Cool. Okay, fine. Right. I don't think that anybody's going to get mad about that. If you start bringing bigger games, though, it'll start to become a problem because then you'll always have that lingering question. He said 1 year or older, right? So it isn't 5 years, which I would love that because then it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? 5 years, whatever, right? If it's 1 year, then it becomes more of a question. And I'll give you an example of, I don't buy PlayStation games on PlayStation. I buy them on PC, and they come out years after. And I'm willing to wait. I don't care. It's fine. I'll wait. Right? It's just the way it is. There's going to be plenty of people who would do that. Right? So I'm just taking it as it is kind of ambivalent. However, he did commit to only 4 games for now. We will see what that looks like. Right. In most cases, when they start something, you find that they eventually continue that pattern. It just depends on what that pattern is. And until I understand what the games are, I don't know what the pattern is. So, once we find out what they're looking at, then we can kind of see, okay, these are the kind of games I'd expect to see eventually show up on the other sides, right? And which platforms, I don't know, right? Right? It's not assumed that all 4 of those games are going to PlayStation, for instance. It could be all 4 going to Switch. They might all be Switch 2 announces. Why didn't they tell us anything? Because there's supposed to be a nice little Nintendo thing coming up in the next week or two. That's going to tell you about the next Nintendo console. And perhaps those are all launch games for that new Switch. That might be why. We
Well,
don't
Jeff
know.
Grubb,
Good-
who
good.
of course is
Right,
one of the
so-
journalists that I trust, he actually said yesterday, and again, listen, Grubb gets it wrong. I got it wrong many times, but I like Jeff. I think Jeff's a good dude. I've had him on the show a couple of times. He said yesterday, Hargeet, that he has heard that the Nintendo show was postponed due to this Xbox show. Now, is that true? Well, this is what Jeff is saying, and again, I think after
Yeah.
what happened, I think a lot of us are going to kind of look taking a step back.
Yep.
And we're not going to rush to judgment based on rumors. But again, it kind of makes sense of what Hargeet is saying now, because what if it was paused because they are going to launch these games on the Switch?
Yep. And is that the
Or
end of the
Switch
world?
2.
Maybe, maybe not, right? I mean, it gives you a nice portable that we're presuming the Switch 2 Pro, whatever the heck they call it, is going to be. It's going to also be a portable, and Microsoft wants to diversify in that category, right?
Yep.
So new hardware announced end of the year. Cool, awesome. We'll believe whatever they tell me when I see the specs, right? I just want to see what they actually show me. So we'll see what that looks like. And as far as the 4 games, until I know what they are, I just can't tell you, right? We've heard plenty of hints of Sea of Thieves, and we had that tweet, right? That hey, the weird poem with the various colors, and you figure, okay, maybe that means they're going multi-plat.
We do know
right?
that two of them will be games as a service. Phil said so.
Yeah. So Sea of Thieves would probably count as one of those.
Grounded
what
is
is the other
probably
one?
the other one. That's what's from. Well, I tell you what. To add, I don't know if you saw this, Hargeet, because you're not on social media, but Famitsu actually reported they're obviously a big conglomerate a news source in Japan. They reported yesterday that it was Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush is the 2 single-player games, and the 2 multiplayer games, which I think we all kind of thought this was going to be Grounded and Sea of Thieves.
And that's where I think it's like Grounded. That's a fantastic move. Why? It's a small team making a passion game. Why not give it more eyes? Now, the only reason that was hey, why are you taking our exclusive? Literally, they don't have anything that year. They give us Grounded and Pentiment as the games, right? And Ghostwire Tokyo that went to PlayStation, right? It's like, this is just the way it is. It's Xbox's fault for not giving us those big games. But now they have so many coming out that like these smaller passion projects, it's fine. Go ahead. I'd also expect, again, the ABK games, by and large, you're probably going to see them be multi-plat. And that doesn't bother me. It just is what it is, right? That is a massive purchase that they expected to go that way. They've been saying it the whole time, right? They've said it in the court cases. Like they've been saying this is going to go multi-plat. We're not, it's going to be Minecraft for us. We're taking the whole thing. ABK is just going to be, so don't expect massive exclusives from that. You'll just get them in Game Pass. That's what ABK gives you. It's all going to be day-and-date Game Pass plus the marketing, and that is a big deal. Call of Duty marketing is a big deal. This fall's, new Call of Duty, which apparently October, is that right? There's some confirmation there. It's October. Will be marketed by Xbox, and they will have Xbox bundles. And I'm guessing this will be the first time it's current gen only, because up to now it's been cross gen,
Right.
which is where the prompt comes in for most of those casuals to start jumping. Hey, I need to get the next new console. And when it's marketed by Xbox, it's going to be kind of convenient for them to just jump to the Xbox. Just, it is what it is, right? So you have to look at that and say, hey, is this a cool thing for them? Is it going to jumpstart their console to get even further? Everybody's expecting console declines as far as hardware sales. Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox have all hinted that that's what's going to happen, as did AMD. So we should probably expect that to decline, but I think this is going to be the jump start for them to have that marketing and the mind share, because Call of Duty just is big. It just is, right? So big deal for them. Hopefully that pans out. But overall from that 22 minutes, I got a lot of fluff. There was definitely a lot of fluff. But there were a few specifics that were useful, and so I'm gonna take it as it is. I'm not gonna go up or down on this yet until I know what the games are confirmed. Like we're seeing, these are things coming from various outlets, and until Microsoft tells me this is what we're doing, I don't buy it yet because we just went through this for the last few weeks. It's all this. It's Gears of War. It's it's Starfield. It's Indiana Jones, and then it turns out to be no. Right. So until I get Xbox said this is what is happening, I'm like gonna wait to pass judgment on what it is. We have plenty of hints, but I want actual tell me these are the games, because the reason they might not have told us is they're still figuring it out. Right? We don't know. We don't know where they really are. Right? All of those might have been accurate, and then they're like, oh, well, the community went like dead, and like we can't do this, and okay, let's hold off and let's just change the pattern.
Yep.
We don't know where we are, right? So until they confirm this is the one, this is the one, this is the one, this is the one, I'm gonna hold off judgment. I want to see what they actually do. Right? 4 games to start, fair enough. I want to see the time horizon as to when the next one happens, assuming it does, and what that game is. And again, I'm totally okay with passion projects going over elsewhere. I think they should get the eyeballs. That's fine. If it's you're going to take Fable and move it over, yeah, I'm going to be pissed. I'm just going to be pissed. Like, there's just no reason to do that. Right? If it's going to be Halo, yeah, I'm not going to be happy about that. It just is what it is.
I don't. Again, I said it yesterday, Hargeet, and I think you'd agree with me. I don't see a world where it's necessary to have.
I hope not.
To have Master Chief on a PlayStation and Kratos on an Xbox. I don't see it.
So look, but in a long run world where we're talking like 10, 15 years from now, yeah, I don't think that's going to matter, because mobile and PC will be the platforms, and like your TV will run games natively and all that stuff. Like, fine. When we're at that world, I don't think it matters. The console will sort of fizzle out. So then it'll just be games or wherever, games need to be so that customers can play the games. Right. So, but we're far off from that. We're not there. So right now you got to play the game that you're in. And the messaging was simply, yep, we heard you.
Yeah,
we're not doing the crazy stuff. We're just looking at 4 games, and hopefully those games will be games that would not bring customers over. Right? Blade, for instance, and Indiana Jones that just got announced, that had people in a tizzy like, what, that's not coming to PlayStation? Yeah, exactly, it's not coming to PlayStation.
That's exactly right. Yes,
right. Those games should not be in discussion. They should just be exclusive, and we should just have that so that people decide, yeah, I need to be on Xbox. Right? And there should be more of those kind of games. So that's what I'm hoping the message is. But again, until I get the 4 games, until I know which one they are, I'm going to reserve judgment, because we just went through this whole thing of like, all sorts of speculation. Like, and I just want to know the actual answer. Like, tell me what you really have coming over, and then I can make some judgments based on that. But I think they heard us, and I think, like we're seeing, it's going to be smaller games. And it's going to be games that are more in the passion project category, and that's fine. Those I don't have any. I think Grounded going over to other places is fantastic, especially Switch. I think Grounded is an awesome game. I've really personally spent like 200 hours in it, and if that has more eyeballs, all the better for that little team. Right, that is a fantastic success already. If it gets even more successful for them, that's fantastic. So I'm happy with that one. Hi-Fi kind of bugs me. I don't know what, no pun intended. I don't know why that needs to go over. But like a Pentiment, again, I'm okay with that. Right, those kind of games, I think it's fine. But we'll see. We'll see what the 4 games are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, good stuff as always. Thank you so much for being here, folks. Listen, we are on the way out the door. I want to get to outros, but I just got to finish catching up with the super chats. And of course, we'll sell everyone's brand, so you can go and find where you can get other great opinions on their personal channels. Chris Washington drops a $10 super chat and says, "Hi guys, love you all, but my favorite is Fuzzy Belvedere. He's my game friend in my head." I'm so grateful for Xbox. That Xbox are going to keep making consoles. I have 1 million gamer score. Holy good for you, dude. I'm encroaching on 400,000. I know it's not 1 million, but that's pretty dope, Chris.
What about the rest of us?
Yeah,
I feel left out.
Well, he likes us. He prefers Fuzzy. I hear him. We Robo 2024 has been a channel member for 16 months. Says, boom. Did you get around to watching the Kind of Funny Xcast? Or should I say it should have been called the PS I Love You XOXO does Xcast. I didn't watch it yet. I have it queued. I heard a lot of people said it was very annoying to watch. Obviously, I like Blessing. I like that kid. He's a good kid. Obviously, Mike was there from what I understand. And so what's that? Oh, I forget the other guy's name. Jesus Christmas. Anyway, I'll get to it. I will get to it. I like XCast. I like Greg Miller and the guys. They do. We don't always agree. I'm gonna be honest with you. We don't always agree, but I've been supporting them since Kind of Funny started, and I'm not sorry
Tim
that
Geddes, is that what you're talking about?
Tim Geddes. Yes, Tim. I love Tim.
think
I
that's
don't
his
always
name.
agree with Tim, but I like the dude. So thank you so much, WeRoll. I would definitely check that out. Chris McComb drops an additional £2 super chat and says interview showed why Phil has booty on as the shooter. I mean, he's not wrong. Peaches earned his name, that's for sure. He's a killer. Don't sleep on Peaches. We have Silent Cypher. He says this after dropping a very generous $2 super chat. 4 games. Yep, you can have my sloppy seconds. He's being
Yikes.
slanderous. I love it. Al Doolin drops a very generous $5 super chat and says this, Phil, on 3/18/16, not every game will go to PC. Jim Ryan, a Horizon Zero Dawn to PC is just a test. If Xbox is willing to port 4 games, they're willing to do a lot more. Yes, that is absolutely true. But again, your things have changed so much since 16. And I'm not making excuses. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Hey, the 3 pillars must stay on Xbox. You're not getting me off this hill. I'm a dinosaur. It's fine. I don't think God of War or Horizon or Uncharted have any business going to an Xbox. I'm sorry, I just don't. Keep your mainstays as your console identity. That's all I have to say about that. El Monte drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, as long as it's not Gears, Halo, or other staples, El Monte, thank you so much for that. They're dropping a very generous $2 super chat and says, Gotham Guy is here. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, shout out to Reverend Ham Solo for preaching the gaming gospel. Indeed, he was preaching. Definitely appreciate that. Highlander 001 drops an additional $2 super chat and says, Embracer Group, oh boy, has laid off 1,400 people today. What the hell?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that. I gotta go and I gotta do
staggering.
some reading after. That's scary, dude. That is, and that's not even on top of the studios
It's
they
not.
closed or all of the other people they already laid off. That's spooky, man. Real sorry for those people. Fantas Archer drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, imagine if the next Xbox gets access to Steam PC, it would also open access to Steam VR for the MetaQuest users. Xbox VR wishful thinking, or hashtag wishful thinking. I mean, if what he's saying comes to fruition, that means that Spider-Man 2018 is going to Xbox because you'll be able to play it on PC. So but that's food for thought. Anonymous Boss drops a $10 super chat and says, ponies port begging for Halo collections and Gears collection. No, ponies. Better get a PC first. And lastly, Highlander 001 drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, Phil said the deal with Sony was just for Call of Duty. Everything else is Xbox and PC exclusive. Did Phil lie? I don't think he lied. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that is probably going to be true. But I'm sure that if it makes financial sense, they like, for instance, if they bring back, I don't know, Prototype, I think that should be an exclusive. Sorry, not to be a dick about it, but why should it go to PlayStation? If you want to play Prototype remastered or whatever, Prototype Next, you go to play it on PC, you play it on Xbox. If you don't have those, well, kick
Well,
cans,
these-
kick rocks, as the kids
And
like
these
to
4
say.
games are not coming from ABK. So if you're
Yeah,
implying,
yeah.
if you're
I mean,
implying that he lied, he didn't. So
I don't
again,
think he did. I think
No.
things change. I make no excuses. I have already said my piece about mainstays being where they belong. But let's get everyone out of here. I'll start first with our guests. Ham Solo, brother, sell the brand, if you will. Now, I always mispronounce your partner's name. How do you pronounce it? It's
Loke.
Loke. Okay, so there's an L that's a silent. So it's Loke 7. I don't know. Does he do stand up? That guy? He is freaking
No, that dude's a bozo.
hilarious to listen to. He is
I
funny
love
as
I
Loke.
got
H.
smoke
He's
for
my
him.
brother.
Yeah, that dude is funny, man. I don't know how he's not getting paid to do stand up, but we
He's
love
a
what you guys do.
smart funny dude.
Yeah.
He lives in Maputo, Mozambique, Africa.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I just came across him on Twitter and I thought he had a really good take. We started chatting. I asked him if he wanted to play Hive Busters.
Wow.
We got down.
Loke
That was the
7.
first game we beat together. Then a way out, and then we just became really good friends. And now we're podcasting.
Well, Loke 7 is definitely a strong. I mean, you guys make a great partnership. You guys bounce off each other real nice. Please, I want you to sell the brand because we want to see you get some more subscribers. We have almost still 900 people here. If you enjoyed the preaching, the teachings, if you will, of Reverend Ham Solo, and of course we all did. I was like this. I was hanging on the edge of my seat listening to what he had to say. Brother, sell the brand. Tell everyone where they can not only subscribe to you, check out Loke 7 on Twitter, RX, and more importantly, where they could subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I put it in the private chat, so if somebody wants to like copy that and throw it in
I
there,
will do
that'd
that
be
right
dope.
now for you. Hold on a sec. Let me just.
I appreciate it. But
you know what? Throw another message in to the chat now, and I will make you. I can't do it from here, but I can do it from my phone. So I will make you a modder. Hold on a sec. Let me just get back here, folks. This is Ham Solo's direct link to his YouTube channel. I would highly recommend you definitely get out there. Where's my phone? Okay, so yeah, so Ham Solo, sell your brand, brother. Tell them when people could check it out.
Yeah, definitely. TSWS Gaming. It stands for They Said, We Said. I do shows over there about 4 times a week. Me and Loke do a show. Me and K Mega do a show every other Monday on my channel, and then the other Monday would be on his. We also have Behind Them Sticks, where I've had many. I've had everybody but Crispy Bomb on there, and that's because it's an on-camera show. So yeah.
Oh, you're gonna make me go on camera now.
I'm gonna make you go on
Yeah,
camera, brother. You better turn on them lights and let our brother see you.
I got a beard too. I'm just saying.
He's got to get out of the dungeon.
Oh, you can go screw yourself, Dread. That's
Ham
old
Solo,
too.
Yeah, Ham Solo, when you get a chance, throw another message into the chat so I can make you a modder.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm just gonna scribble there.
Yeah, that's fine.
But anyways, yeah, you can find me over there. Today we have a show at 3:00 Central, 4:00 Eastern called Bullsitting, where me, Loke, Cozy Beluga, my buddy Matt likes games, and we usually have a guest on there. We talk about all the stuff that's been happening throughout the week. And of course, I'm going to have to re-preach my gospel over there at that time with, of course, Loke giving me a hard time and some people in the chat that love to troll and give me some hard times as well. It's always a good time over there. It's all fun games. We're not haters of PlayStation. We're not only fanboys of Xbox. I mean, but anyways, yeah, go on ahead, check us out. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoy what you see and whatnot. And who knows, I might end up having you on Behind Them Sticks maybe someday.
Absolutely,
thank you so much,
brother.
Boom, for having me here today. It is a pleasure, and I'd love to show up here one of these times with my brother Loke, just so we could bounce off.
Dude, you know what? I'm going to DM you guys today. We'll go on this. We'll look at the schedule whenever you guys are free. We'll get you on. No questions asked.
Oh, let's go.
No questions asked. So thank you so much for being here, Hargeet Chani. I know that you were in meetings all morning, but thank you so much for taking the time to be here. We love the opinion. You were like me. We're old men. We are stuck in our ways. I'm not going to change. I'm going to die on this hill, folks. It's fine. But again, you can't find him on social media, but you can find him in 2 places. And of course, he represents Game On Daily. And quite frankly, what's not to like about Asa? What's not to like about the slanderous one known as King Sauce himself, Gaz? Obviously, you do a show every week now with Fonz, and Fonz is class act as they come. Love that guy. Love the way he has grown his channel with respect and organically, as we all have done. Talk about where people could check out Game On Daily, and of course, what you got going on with Fonz.
Yeah, sure. So I'm available as H Chani on Discord and on Xbox. And yeah, you can check out GameOnDaily.com. It's a news aggregation site for gaming news. It'll tailor it to you. And then YouTube.com/GameOnDaily for the main channel. with our podcasts 4 p.m. Eastern time Saturdays. And then yeah, Septic Sauce is the channel for Gaz's Fun. He did stream the Xbox podcast yesterday and went through it with his opinion, which he pretty much destroyed them and said, "What the heck is this?" And then Asa does his own thing on his channel as well. It's Gaming Arcadia. Check that out. And they have a Thursday. Actually, he seems to come on every day nowadays. But they have a podcast 3 p.m. Eastern U.S. time with Deadly Headley and Gamsley. Check that out. Fawn's Gaming, his channel. I am a co-host on Games Talk Live, which is normally Sundays at 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern. We actually did one yesterday at 6 p.m. To cover what just happened with the Xbox announce, and of course we had the PlayStation Fun news the day before, so we went through that. But we will still be on Sunday again. And then here, Primetime Gaming every Wednesday at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Boom's channel. I will also be on C Money's podcast this evening, 6 p.m. I don't know what this one's called, but you know, it's C Money's channel. Check that out, and I'll be on there at 6 o'clock.
Nice.
And we'll go over the same news, right? All this fun stuff with Xbox and what's been going on with Sony.
Yeah,
Argy,
yeah.
you cracked me up, dude.
Yeah.
There's a lot to get into because there was a lot of really bad news for Sony, and I think that unfortunately no one really talked about it except for a few channels. There is a lot to be concerned about, especially when you're looking for first party games, and obviously that was overshadowed by what happened with Xbox, as it normally is, right?
It is, right?
Sony bad news is always just looked over, like, oh, it's no big deal.
And I'll give a slight like update on RDX. Dealer is doing fine. He is totally disjointed himself from everything, and he decided to go out in the real world, enjoy his life for a little bit.
He does some grass, right?
Yeah, literally. That's literally it. And he's just like, he's just disconnected from all this stuff. But he will come back. We will hopefully come back at some point soon. But that is where it is. Just a slight update, right? So Dealer's fine. RDX will come back at some point, and we will bring that back with a roar at some point. I don't know when it'll be, but look for that too.
Thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I definitely appreciate all the information. Of course, you taking the time to be here. Obviously, Dreadpool, let's sell your brand, brother. Talk about Breaking Bread with Dread. I saw a new episode went up. Talk about where they can subscribe, help you continue to grow your YouTube channel. And more importantly, brother, you could be found where else?
Yes, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, pretty much everywhere. If the O's aren't the O's, they're actually zeros. So you just have to figure out which one it is, and you'll find it there. I got to appreciate each and every one of you guys for stopping in here. The latest Breaking Bread dropped, which is the 360 version. So you can actually move your phone around or move the mouse on your phone or the mouse on the screen, and you can actually look around with the 360 views.
It's pretty dope. Yeah.
And I have the next one, which is Joe, and we'll leave that at that.
Okay.
That one's still processing. I have to still do some more tweaking on it. But again, thank you all. Let's see, Game Beyond the Box on Sundays at 7. Right here, Breakfast Boom at 10 a.m. and then 9 a.m. I always forget to do it because I have to update my card here. Good Morning Xbox on Axel's channel, and it's the Iconic Video Games Podcast on YouTube. And speaking of C Money, I'm going to be on there at 6 p.m. also. So I don't know if he double booked us.
Wow. Holy
if
cow.
it's going to be Beard Brothers or what,
Why
I don't
not,
know.
right?
We'll see. But yes, so check that out. And I'm going to throw in another one for you, not to outdo Argy, but today is my anniversary with my wife.
Oh, happy anniversary, dude. That's awesome.
Thank you.
How long you guys been married?
11 years.
Good for you, man.
Damn,
Congratulations,
bro.
brother. That is
So yeah,
awesome.
happy
bro.
anniversary to Death Dealer.
Death
and
Dealer indeed. Yes.
Yeah, so after it was it at 6. Let's see, 6 p.m. is C Money. And then so it's 8 p.m. on Iconic Video Games Podcast. So she'll be doing her thing there. And
nice.
I'll be in the chat, you know, so if you guys want to swing by and wish us a happy anniversary there too, thank you. But again, thank you all. Everybody had great insights. It was good to see everybody just having different opinions and different
Love it.
outlooks about the same thing, where we can actually discuss and learn from each other.
Yep.
Different ideas, different viewpoints, and the fact that we can harmoniously have a disagreement or agreement on anything that we do and say, you know, and logical thinking, which is what we need to do more so. Reactions are fine. You can have your feelings, but you have to be logical about your reactions.
Yep.
Or your actions. I'm sorry, your actions. So again, thank you all, and see you next week.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much for that. 2 more super chats before we get to Crispy Bomb. We have here Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, to me, consoles are just a device to play games on. I don't care if God of War or Halo swaps ecosystems. I hear you, brother. Look, I'm like the old man here, and again, from my growing up, I was sold a Sega Genesis because it had Sonic. I was sold a Super Nintendo because it came with Super Mario World. And each console that I supported, because I've always been a multi-console gamer, I bought for specific games. I think that there is a world where console identity is based on your powerful IPs. And those powerful IPs sell your brand. And you dilute your brand when those are shared with others. I know it's maybe a dumb take for some folks. I hear you, and I'm not going to fight with you, but I'm also the old man in the room, and I understand that I am a dinosaur. It's fine. It's fine. Roar, as they say. Crispy Bomb, sell your brand, brother. Where could people find you on social media? What else you got going on, kind sir?
At Chris Bomb on X, Chris Bomb 28, Xbox Live. You can find me as a Double Barrel Gaming exclusive. That is all. We will see you when we see you. And apparently, I haven't been invited because people don't value my voice. By all means, Mr. Ham. Just saying.
Oh no!
That's a dig and love.
You got to get him on there behind them sticks. You gotta get him on there behind them sticks. That's for sure. Again, before we get to Fuzzy, 2 more super chats came in. Silent Cipher. This is for Ham. Set Loke in his place today, Ham. Let him know about himself.
You damn right. I'm gonna set that sucker right in his place.
And Anne
Blue in the
Young.
chair.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be
let's
tuning in for that.
go,
Again, I
baby.
love the show. It's just so much fun to watch. Anne Young dropped a very generous $5 super chat. And I hope I'm pronouncing it. It's Anne Young. Is that how it is? Or it's 2 words? But thank you so much for the generosity. They say, boom, had no idea you were a retired New York City police officer. Thank you for your service. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Yes, 21 years. Listen, funny story real quick. In 1982, for my 12th birthday, I got G.I. Joe figures. I went to Play World, which was a toy store long defunct in New York. And my mother got me the Vamp 1 with Clutch as the driver and Stalker, who was my favorite G.I. Joe of all time. And from that moment on, seeing how they portray G.I. Joe, it was because of that I wanted to become a police officer. And that's behind the curtain facts. And because of G.I. Joe, I joined the military and, of course, later on became a New York City police officer. So, yeah, because of G.I. Joe, that changed my life. Thank you for the generosity. Thank you for the kind words. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's sell your brand, kind sir. Where could people check out the best place for anything and everything in the racing genre? Where could people find you on social media? What else you got going on?
Oh, just want to thank you for having me on. It was awesome to be on here with you guys this morning, as well as our special guests that we've had on here. Always love hearing your guys' takes and viewpoints or perspectives on things. It's always engaging and riveting as far as you can learn from people's different points of view as far as how things might not necessarily be the same, as what I can see from, my vantage point. Other vantage points give you a lot more insight into it and stuff. And I always appreciate, chatting it up with you guys. Greatly appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for checking us out and watching us. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's greatly appreciated. And for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me later on tonight on the Xbox Ultimate Podcast on Fun Speculations channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Then tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on PTK Blam's channel for the Shop Podcast. And then right back here for the Xbox Lunch Break Special at 12 noon on Monday. Look forward to seeing you there.
Well, thank you being a part of today's show, and thank you, of course, for being on the Monday show as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us today. Hopefully you had a lot of fun as we did. We had over almost 1,100 people here today on a Friday morning. There are still 600 people here. If you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. I do this Monday through Friday, all different panels, all different voices. But you know what? We always have fun. You know what we don't do is we're not going to hate monger. We're not going to sell you on the hate that some people do to garner views, likes, and clicks. And we always have fun. And of course, thank you to all of the outstanding super chats and channel memberships that continue to come in. Like I said, Mrs. Boom and I have 4 contests coming up where all you got to do, you don't even got to be sub to the channel, folks. The truth of the matter is you just got to be in the chat as we do it. The first big one is coming in September. We are giving away 15 copies of Stalker 2. We are a mom and pop kind of an organization. We are helping out a smaller dev. We are buying those 15 copies at full price, and we're going to give them away to the first 8 go to channel members. Obviously, they get first crack because they're channel members, and the next 7 are going to be anyone in the live chat. Of course, there are 3 other contests, and the big one is the one we do every year. It is Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. Last December, we gave away $1,500 in 2 hours. This year, depending on the finances, and Mrs. Boom, this is on her request, we're going to try and up the ante to $2,000. We're going to try and give away $2,000 in 2 hours, and we can't do any of that without the channel memberships and the super chats, because we do tuck those away and we kind of save them for these big contests. And it's our small way of giving back to the community that consistently gives to us. So take it. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in and supporting the channel. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son, I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.